How's it going, guys? Hope everybody's having a good night. And I try not to make this too long, but I just want to do a quick video talking about this supplement I took that really helped me get through a rough depression I went through a few years ago. A lot of you probably heard of it. It's called 5-HTP, or by its longer name, 5-hydroxytryptophan. And basically, it is a supplement that is a precursor to serotonin, and it helps facilitate the natural process of your brain producing serotonin, which is like, you know, the key chemical for producing happiness and, you know, stabilizing your mood and regulating all sorts of other things too. But I was really skeptical about it at first. Because a few years ago I went through a really rough breakup, and I was extremely depressed, and I wasn't actually thinking about the fact that my brain's lack of serotonin was contributing to my negative worldview, and thinking that I was never going to be able to get out of it, and that I was just going to kind of stay that way. And that's what happens when, you know, you get depressed, and it changes everything. You know, it's when you lack serotonin, that's a really rough place to be in. And 5-HTP is something that definitely leveled me out and helped me kind of look at my problems from like an objective point of view, but in a really subtle way. It's not something that you're really going to notice. It just stabilizes your mood, so you're not up and down like you normally are when you're going through major emotional issues. It just kind of levels you out, calms you down, so you're able to use your normal reasoning faculties to work your way through your issues. It doesn't take away any of the work. It's not like certain drugs that people use to escape or use to just boost their euphoria in an artificial way. It just levels you out, and it's a nice little boost to kind of help you along with working through whatever issues you might be going through, or just to be healthy overall and to have a good attitude. I mean, I started taking it for a long period of time, even after I like got through my depression on my own. I kept taking the 5-HTP because it just was it kept me very even keel. You know, if I woke up in a pissy mood, it'd be a good thing to take, because it would put me back to baseline, like where I'm normally at when I'm completely sober, which is, you know, calm, collected, mild-mannered, and not letting anything come through that might, you know, show that I'm irritated or whatever. Because, you know, when you're experiencing more extreme emotions, it's much harder to hide that, and people can definitely pick up on subtle signs that you're giving away that you're in a bad mood or something like that. But, you know, 5-hydroxytryptophan is something that genuinely, like, you know, makes your mood stable. You're not having to hide like a bad attitude. You feel good, and it shows, you know. Now also, one thing that it really did help me during that depressed stage was I had like my first breakthrough MDMA experience at this concert. And I know it's not the ideal place for like kind of a therapeutic thing like that, but it had a very therapeutic effect on me. And I mean, it was also working on the serotonin receptors, so it was the same kind of deal, except obviously MDMA is like a fucking huge charge of that thing. It's a high, you know, it's not just a supplement. But that really did help me too. I had no crash or anything. It was very clean MDMA, and I was, you know, glowing for weeks afterwards and had a much better attitude about things. But then I kind of fell into a depressed state again after, you know, that sort of honeymoon phase wore off, and then the 5-HTP came in at that time, and I was kind of resistant to it at first, but I was glad once I did start taking it. I was taking probably 200 milligrams a day for like 2 weeks, and then I went back down to 100 milligrams a day because it could make me a little overly mellow, a little lethargic at work, so I had to lower the dose so I wouldn't be experiencing that in the middle of the day. And it's something I would recommend to people. I think it would really help. The only situation I would say to not take it is if you're already on antidepressants or any sort of medication that works on serotonin receptors. A lot of those antidepressants are SSRIs, or selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, and the 5-HTP could definitely interfere with that, and you wouldn't want to be taking multiple things that work on those receptors, because the more you do that, the more at risk you could be of serotonin syndrome, which is, kind of it's a medical emergency. And yeah, you don't want to be having too much serotonin. You just want to have the right amount, obviously. It's about finding the balance. And this is the thing that's kind of hard to describe to people, is that people that are really in a rut, they want something that's really going to pick them up and boost them up. And antidepressants do that. But in my opinion, they act too aggressively on the body. They kind of pump up the serotonin artificially to where it's at an exceptionally high level, and then you need to keep taking the antidepressant to put yourself up to that new level of normalcy, because then you can get more depressed once you're off of it. So to me, it's kind of just looks like a bad drug habit. And anybody dealing with emotional issues, I would think they'd be much better off starting out on something that is a precursor to serotonin, as opposed to like a direct serotonin stimulator. So I think 5-HTP would help. I mean, it's not going to help you escape from any emotional issues or anything like that. You still got to work through all that stuff, but it's just, like I said before, it's just a little booster. It helps you along. It helps mellow out your mood and put you back to at least a normal enough place to where you can reasonably work through issues without being heavily burdened by just the sadness, But obviously I'm no expert, I'm just speaking from my own personal experience, and, I've never really had major depression issues throughout my life. This was just an exceptional time, it was like getting your heart broken for the first time, and, it's just a real depression, and I'm just saying that, from my experience, that really helped me out. So, do a bit of Googling, do some research if it's something that interests you, and it'd be cool to hear from people of what their experiences were with it. But I'm going to get going now, so peace.